Hi, my name is Helen Jost. I was with the Circumnavigators Club and its foundation in 1974.
My name is Tracy Sancilio, and I am the Executive Director for the Circumnavigators Club Foundation.
When Tracy decided that she'd like to become the Executive Director for the club and foundation, I was thrilled that she wanted to take that on, because it was just so much easier for me to train her. She was well aware of the job. I mean, I had her doing things just on the side sometimes when I needed to stuff envelopes or whatever back in the day, and she would help me. So she was well aware of it. So when she was interested in becoming the executive director, then was glad to train her.
I would explain that the Circumnavigators Club Foundation is it's a program in which it's an opportunity for college students to travel around the world and studying a specific topic that they choose that's related to their major, and just it's the Circumnavigators Club, the donations that are made from the foundation in conjunction with the university to allow these students to make this trip around the world, and report on it with these exceptional final reports that they write when they return. And it's a huge learning experience for them. Circumnavigators Club benefits from the foundation because these young students who are exceptional and extremely bright and worldly, they then travel around the world and become members of the Circumnavigators Club. So once they fulfill all the requirements and submit their final paper, I provide them with a membership application to become a member of the club. And it's a way for the club to expand its membership with younger members who have new perspectives and can spread the word to other younger members to potentially join the club. The foundation coordinators are terrific. They're really the hands-on people in the local chapter that meet with the university administrators and very closely in the beginning of the process and interviewing the students. And so they're extremely important in the process. We wouldn't be able to do it without them. Many of them have been in the position for years in local chapters, and others are fairly new. But they're as I said, I mean, I handle a lot myself at international, but the local chapter coordinator is hands-on, so it's vital to the program.
It gives the chapters a serious part, other than just having fun with the club and social events. It gives them the seriousness of having a student from their local schools, go around the world, and they raise money and they get the grant. So, and I think the foundation still helps them with that. When a chapter didn't have a grantee, we would send a grantee there to give a report as a program. So that enabled the people in that chapter to see what we were doing and encourage them to possibly find the appropriate school to offer a grant to.
It'd be nice to open it up to Singapore, to develop a grant again in Singapore, yeah. But it's been a long time.
When the students went around the world, they went to Singapore. They requested that they go there, and they were so well received. The Singapore members, they had a beautiful luncheon for them. They really decided they wanted a grant. So that's what they did. I think we gave them a grant or two. They became very interested, very supportive of the foundation. I really enjoyed working with the Circumnavigators Club Foundation. It was quite interesting. It was a lot of fun, actually, because these students were so excited to have this opportunity. And they had a competition between 3, 4 students, even more when they went to Georgetown first. Then they came up to Ray Dinsmore's apartment and by the United Nations. And they competed there. And they had a small group of people who interviewed them. And then they went back. And then they were called either that night or the next day to be told that they won. And they were thrilled, to say the least. Some of the scholars were very conscientious in getting things done on time. And they were the scholars who would wait to the last minute as far as getting their airline tickets, setting up their contacts around the world of where they were going to stay. Because legally we were responsible for these kids. And we had to know verification of where they would be when and how and who they'd be staying with. What else that I would think? It's the airline, their time schedule. So some of them would wait to the last minute, like a few days before they were going. I said, you're not going until you get me every single piece of what I need. And then they did, because I meant it. I enjoyed it all, actually, from the beginning to the end. It took quite a while. It was hard work, keeping your hands on the kids and moving them along. But they were all, they're kids, they're children, really. So you have to help them along a little bit.
As the current executive director, I work with the grantees, the board of directors, and the foundation coordinators. And basically from the time the student is selected in the local chapter, they submit their approved proposal. And I basically start the process, at that point with them, with a timetable that they need to follow which specifies when everything is due. They have forms, waiver and release forms they have to sign, acknowledgement forms, and then they have to come up with their a very specific itinerary that needs to be approved by Greg Ryder and the committee. And once the itinerary is approved, then we can move forward on booking their airfare through, we use SDA Travel, and book their airfare, and they come up with all their accommodations, and they also have to follow a specific budgetary spreadsheet that they fill out along the way and submit when they return. And basically, I'm just there for anything they need along the way. I give them a preparation guide and guidelines to follow, and which is very helpful. And the foundation coordinator in the local chapters there as well to guide them. So we kind of all work together. It's just funny to think about how when my mother was in the position compared to, now working with the grantees. When the grantees were traveling on their trip, in order to keep in touch, they would send my mother a postcard on how it was going, and you even, what were you saying, Mom, that they had so much to say?
So much to say. They ended up going around the card, all the way around to finish what they had to say. Yeah, they were cute.
So it went from, sending postcards to now just having a link to their blog
Yeah, which
and
is
seeing
nice.
where they are along the way with all their photos. So it's just technology is probably the biggest change in the position with working with the foundation grantees.
Sure, when I started with the club, I had a Selectric typewriter, a red telephone that my Tracy and her brother were never allowed to touch because I brought it home when I continued with the club. And I had, the big deal was to get me a copy machine. So that took a big decision by the board, which they did. And then that was it. I was set working from home.
The most rewarding part of the grant process is really just seeing the excitement in the student when they're selected in the very beginning, and the excitement when they're leaving for their trip, and following them along the way on their blogs. And we share that with the Circumnavigators Club members as well, so they can see where they are along the way. And that it's just seeing it all come together at that point, and they're having such a great time and achieving their dream.
There were several things that the foundation scholars have in common. They love people. They have a worldly interest. They have an insatiable appetite for travel. The scholars taking these trips, I think it opened up their world to the point that some of them thought they wanted to be one thing and actually ended up changing what they wanted to do in their life to something else. And it had more of an international flavor to it. So I felt that very impactful, that they really learned so much from their trips and their experiences that they wanted to take on a whole other different type of work for the rest of their life. Some of our grantees have become leaders on an international basis, whether they're heads of colleges, universities, created their own companies that are international companies. Quite a few of them have done amazing things.
There have been several who have gone on to, work for the government, and in some very prestigious positions. To mention specific positions, I'm not sure, but I know that, with their education and experience, there's some pretty important people, and they make a difference in this world.
The foundation did some small projects for a while, but then they wanted to come up with something that was more around the world kind of thing. And it was Ray Dinsmore who, along with a number of board members, Charlie Blaisdell, John Johannesson, there's a number of them, all got on board to establish the foundation around the world travel study project. And they wanted to give it to Georgetown. And that's how that started. With Greg Ryder, he was the first grantee. And he didn't have to write a report. Ray Dinsmore was a self-made millionaire. He was very bright in that he bought up properties in Manhattan during the Depression. And he became quite wealthy. He was married. He didn't really have children. So that's why he was so generous to doing for children. And he really, along with a man in Michigan, George Perot, they talked about the foundation, establishing it. But Ray's the one who really picked up on it here in New York and kept it going. So he's really an outstanding individual. Charles Blaisdell and John Johannesson were dear friends of each other. Charlie was an attorney here in New York, very well respected. John Johannesson worked for Mobil Oil. He was an executive. And my favorite stories with a group of them, after the luncheon or whatever they did at their selection, they would all go to the local bar and have a few drinks together. So they were truly not only connected with the foundation and the club, but they were really very good friends. Jack Roberts was an Englishman. In the beginning, he wasn't as supportive of the foundation, but as he realized what we were really doing and to support the kids, he jumped on board. And actually, I think there was somewhere along there that Jack had a grant in his name because he made a nice size donation to the foundation. Mike Watabe was a wonderful, wonderful man, very humble, very kind. He's another one who did so much for the club as its president, and then for the foundation. He couldn't do enough. He was with an airline, so he did a lot of things that he was able to do as far as giving a good break for the kids in their flights and that type of thing. But he was very, very nice. I like to work with Greg Ryder. He was the first grantee, and we always kid him that he had long hair when he gave his talk. We came up with a photograph of him with it. But no, he loves the foundation. He's done so much for it and benefit and serving as its president. He's wonderful. The 50th anniversary of this grant, it's amazing that it's 50 years. Couldn't believe that. But I'm so happy that it's lasted this long, has benefited so many young people over the years, and hopefully will continue to do so. You know, once this pandemic is over with, that we could all get back and the young people can get back to it. So it's a wonderful opportunity for young people. You know, I think it should continue, of course. The foundation should continue on the path it's taken, possibly broaden it if the funds become available. I'd like to see more people, students, have the opportunity to go around. I don't want to change anything with the foundation. I think what they're doing is very important for our young students. So I would just like to see it grow and more students.
50th anniversary is amazing. I can't believe that it's been 50 years. I haven't been involved as long as my mother, had, but just in the time that I've been the executive director, I've just, learned so much with working with these grantees, over the years. And I just think it's a terrific celebration of this program that was established so long ago. As far as the future of the foundation travel study grant program, I think that it's going so well for students and the universities, and for all these years. I know it will continue, and it'll continue to be a success. But I would love to be able to see more donations come in from members, and so that we could expand the program to more students, possibly in different areas of the United States. We've had certain chapters have been strong going for years, but it would be nice to be able to expand it even internationally if possible. But I know that a lot of it depends on funding. So I would hope that we could just keep increasing that over the years, and be able to get the university's participation as well. Some new universities.